iOS. Imagine walking into a theme park where every single ride runs perfectly, the churros are always warm, and the staff somehow know your favorite song. That is what iOS feels like. Apple's operating system for iPhones and iPads is tightly controlled, polished, and smooth. Updates roll out on schedule. Even older iPhones get new features for years, and the whole system feels like a luxury car that still drives like new after a decade. iOS is all about consistency. You know exactly what you're getting, and it usually just works. The upside is clear. The App Store is like a high-end grocery store where every product is checked for quality, so you are less likely to buy something rotten. Apps often arrive on iOS before they hit Android, and security is strong. The downside? Freedom is limited. You cannot customize much, you cannot easily install apps outside of the App Store, and iPhones come with a price tag that makes your wallet sweat. iOS is like a luxury resort vacation. It is beautiful, reliable, and stress-free. But you are paying for the premium experience. Linux. Linux is not just an operating system, it is a whole family of them. Created in 1991 by Linus Torvalds, Linux is open source, which means anyone can modify it. Because of that, there are hundreds of distributions or versions. Some, like Ubuntu or Fedora, are beginner-friendly. Others, like Arch or Debian, are aimed at professionals. Linux is everywhere. It runs servers for Google, Facebook, Amazon, even NASA. The internet itself runs on Linux. Chances are you used Linux today without even realizing it. The strengths are clear. Linux is secure, lightweight, and extremely stable. You can bring an old computer back to life with it, or you can run the most advanced supercomputers in the world. But for beginners, Linux can feel like trying to fly a plane with only a manual. Many versions rely on typing commands instead of clicking menus, and some mainstream apps like Photoshop or Microsoft Office are harder to find. Gaming is improving thanks to compatibility tools, but Windows still dominates that space. Linux is the Swiss Army knife of operating systems. It can do almost anything in the right hands, but it requires patience and skill to master. Mac OS. If iOS is Apple's theme park, Mac OS is the penthouse suite above it, complete with ocean views and room service. Released in 2001, Mac OS has become the crown jewel of Apple's computers. Unlike Windows, which runs on almost any PC, Mac OS only lives inside Apple's carefully designed hardware. The magic comes from this marriage between hardware and software. Because Apple controls both, Mac OS runs as smoothly as peanut butter and jelly sliding together. Creative professionals love it. Filmmakers, musicians, and designers swear by built-in apps like Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and GarageBand, which turn a Mac into a creative powerhouse. But living in that penthouse costs money. Macs are expensive, and if you are a gamer, you might find yourself disappointed by the limited catalog. Specialized software often works better on Windows too. Still, Mac OS wins with reliability, battery life, and the way it syncs beautifully with your other Apple devices. Text messages on your Mac, photos instantly on your iPad, it feels like wizardry. Mac OS is not just about getting work done. It is a statement, a lifestyle, like sipping a latte in a trendy cafe while editing your short film. TempleOS. TempleOS is one of the most unusual operating systems ever made. Created almost entirely by one man, Terry A. Davis, it feels like a time capsule from the early 1980s. The graphics are locked at 640 by 480 with just 16 colors, and it comes with its own programming language called Holy C. It even includes quirky games and a built-in Oracle program that gives random Bible verses as answers to questions. The system has no networking at all, no internet, no Wi-Fi, no way to connect outside. Terry designed it that way on purpose, making it both extremely secure and completely impractical for modern computing. Still, TempleOS has gained cult status. Some admire its technical brilliance, others its eccentric vision, and many just find it fascinating as a one-of-a-kind personal project. Android. If Mac OS is a penthouse, Android is New York City at rush hour. It is huge, chaotic, and full of options. Since its debut in 2008, Android has become the most widely used mobile operating system in the world. Why? Freedom, unlike Apple, which keeps iOS locked inside its garden, Android is open source. That means companies like Samsung, Google, and Xiaomi can take the code and put their own twist on it. The result is diversity. You can buy a budget phone for under $200 or a foldable futuristic device for well over $1,000. Android has something for everyone. Customization is Android's superpower. You can design your home screen like a spaceship control panel, add widgets wherever you want, and install apps Apple would never allow. But freedom comes at a cost. Some phones never get timely updates, leaving them vulnerable. Manufacturers often cram in bloatware, those annoying pre-installed apps you cannot delete. And while Android is powerful, many apps are optimized better for iOS, so performance can feel uneven. Still, Android is unmatched in flexibility. It is the city of opportunity. Messy? Yes. Overwhelming? Sometimes. But if you like choice, Android is where you want to live. FreeDOS. FreeDOS is like dusting off an old record player and finding it still works perfectly. Created in 1994 by Jim Hall as a free replacement for MS-DOS, it lets you run classic DOS software and games like DOOM or Wolfenstein exactly as they were meant to be played. It is still used today in legacy and embedded systems where old software cannot easily be replaced. Things like lab machines, cash registers, or specialized industrial tools. FreeDOS is lightweight, fast, and runs on hardware modern systems would never touch. Enthusiasts also love it as a way to explore the roots of personal computing. So, while FreeDOS will not edit your TikToks or run VR, it quietly keeps history alive, powering old programs that the modern world forgot but still needs. Serenity OS. Serenity OS is a love letter to the 1990s, but written in modern code. Started in 2018 by developer Andreas Kling, it looks like Windows 95 at first glance, with its nostalgic icons and simple desktop. But beneath the surface, it is built entirely from scratch. It is not Linux, not BSD, but something new. Serenity OS is a community-driven project, a place where developers can experiment and imagine what computing might have been if history had gone differently. It is still a hobby project, so you probably will not replace your daily laptop with it. But it is fascinating because it shows what passionate people can build when they start over with a clean slate. Using Serenity OS feels like stepping into a retro arcade where all the machines are brand new. It is not practical for most users, but it is inspiring. It proves that operating systems can be fun, experimental, and artistic, not just functional. Unix. Finally, we arrive at Unix, the grandparent of them all. Developed in the late 1960s at Bell Labs, Unix laid the foundation for almost every modern operating system. Without Unix, there would be no Linux, no BSD, and no Mac OS. Unix was designed for multitasking and multiple users, making it ideal for servers, scientific research, and industries like banking. To this day, Unix systems run some of the world's most critical infrastructure. The catch is that Unix was never cheap. Back then, installing it was a major investment, which meant regular home users never really saw it. But its influence is everywhere. Think of Unix as the original recipe book that inspired generations of chefs. Windows, Linux, Mac, they are all dishes that trace back to Unix's kitchen. It is not glamorous, but it is one of the strongest, most reliable foundations in the history of computing. So, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when a new video drops.